All right, here's the skull
Oh,
dusted off for you.
ooh,
There you go.
thank you much. So it's nice and shiny. So I have a tale of the Catskill Gnomes.
Okay, okay. And the Catskills are a place in Jersey.
Uh, ish, I think. I mean, I'm not actually 100% sure. I think it's more in New York, but yeah, because I think it's like north, maybe.
But these are some good old-fashioned American
Yeah, they're this is an extension
gnomes.
extension of the Appalachians. So
Ooh.
so these are, yes, they're certainly American gnomes. Well, I mean, probably predate America, but
Nothing predates America. That's what the Constitution says.
it's true. I suppose if it was the will of God to expand westward, then America has always been.
They called it manifest destiny.
uh when one thinks of gnomes, one is prone to think of them in the context of the old world, not the new. Whether as earth elementals in the occult philosophy of Paracelsus, a dwarf-like creature dwelling underground, or the pointy red hat wearing variety from the book by Will Huygens, gnomes, outside of Dungeons and Dragons, are creatures of European origin and would seem out of place here in the Americas. Except they wouldn't, because we've got like pudge buckies and shit. Or at least that's what one would think if they never ventured into the ancient mountains known as the Catskills. As it turns out, the Catskill Mountains have a long history of being the partying place for a race of short human-like creatures that are evidently not human.
What, like their Arizona state?
Yep.
Like you could go to like Maine and hunt up something real good, with the likes of it and other celestial beings, or you
You
could
could
go
go
party and relax
party
over at the Catskills.
party in the Catskills. Stories of these beings go back to before European contact in the folklore of at least three different indigenous cultures. Henry Hudson, the first European to sail up the river named after him and pass under the shadows of the Catskills, was said to have had his own encounter with these beings.
Ooh.
Do they still dwell in the mountains, now better known for the Borscht Belt than mythical creatures? Let's take a look and see what we can do with this little bit of folklore.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they? This was a party spot that became a place where, vaudevillians would go every year to tell the same 25 minutes.
But who could tell it the best? That's where the trophy went.
There are two major folk tales involving the Catskill gnomes uh, it's written poorly, but concerned one purportedly told by the Mohegan people who made their home in the region, and the second involving Henry Hudson. The first recorded in the book Myth and Legends of Our Own Land by Charles M. Skinner, which hilariously is going to be recording a tale from the Mohegan people.
Perfect.
Yeah, so, a little, just a dash of colonialism right at the beginning there.
You need it.
Published in 1896. According to Skinner, the Mohegan people spoke of a natural amphitheater located behind the Grand Hotel, which once stood in High Mount, New York. This place was said to be the gathering site of small beings who, quote, worked in metals and had bushy beards and eyes like pigs.
Eyes like pigs, teeth like rabbits. That's my horrifying creature.
That sounds pretty terrifying, actually. These beings would assemble on the ledge above the amphitheater and dance the night away under a full moon. They were said to brew a potent liquor, one that shortened the bodies and swelled the heads of anyone who drank it. Skinner reports that Hudson and his crew encountered these gnomes when visiting the mountains. The short beings held a party in his honor and invited Hudson and the crew to drink their mountain moonshine.
Ooh.
As a result, the crew went away shrunken and distorted, and it was in this guise that Rip Van Winkle would encounter them a century later.
Wait, Rip Van Winkle was a real dude?
No, but
Okay. This is a tale, a tall tale, in fact.
yeah. Well, I mean, the the Hudson thing we're going to hear a little bit more about. Uh,
Ooh,
the
okay.
the the second folktale comes from a story recorded by Essie Schlosser in spooky New York. Schlosser writes that Hudson and crew heard the sound of music echoing from the hills as the Half Moon, that's the name of the boat, lay at anchor in the shadow of the Catskills. Hudson and crew went ashore to seek out the source of the music, only to find, quote, a group of pygmies with long, bushy beards and eyes like pigs. So I guess they're just quoting the Mohegan myth. Dancing and capering around a fire. Hudson recognized the beings as the metalworking gnomes some of the native tribes had spoken of. The gnomes quickly spotted the party crashers and welcomed them with a cheer. Long into the night, the crew drank with the gnomes and played nine pins.
Nice. So bowling, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's cool because most of the time this ends with everyone's flesh being rended off and eaten by the red caps.
Yeah. Not so this time around. They're just having fun. Hudson sipped only a single glass of the home-brewed hooch and, quote, spoke with the chief of the gnomes about many deep and mysterious things. Realizing how late it had become, Hudson looked around to gather his men, only to discover he couldn't see them. All he glimpsed was a large group of gnomes laughing around the fire. To his amazement and horror, Hudson recognized several of the gnomes as his crewmen.
I was thinking,
Yeah, now transformed into short creatures with heads, quote, swollen to twice their normal size. Their eyes were small and pig-like, and their bodies had shortened until they were only a little taller than the gnomes themselves. Alarmed, Hudson pressed the chieftain for an explanation, and he was assured that the change in his crewmen was the result of drinking the gnome's brew, and that the transformation would wear off when the sailors sobered up. Hudson, so I mean, these are men who've been at sea. This could take a week.
this could be an unusual amount of time. They are hefty drinkers.
Hudson, fearing what else might be in store for his men, quickly gathered up his miniaturized mariners and hustled them drunkenly back to the Half Moon. When the crew awoke in the morning, it was with terrible hangovers, but thankfully back to their normal shapes and forms. In one version of this tale, one of the crewmen was overlooked in the rush to get everyone back to the ship and remained in the gnome's company, permanently transformed ever after.
Would you become a gnome? Would you go
Uh,
back?
I mean, I don't really know because it seems like they have to do a lot of hard work, but they
Yeah, but
do
you're doing hard work now.
but they do party,
Yes.
and you don't get to yeah, because I guess if you're already working on a boat, it probably kind of sucks. So,
No, you like the sea air, remember?
oh, right. The sea is my wife.
The sea's my wife and I loves her.
The tale has a further addendum. In reality, so I guess I would probably I'd rather be 6 foot tall. I guess
I
when it comes down to it,
like being a tall human on
I
land.
yeah. I have slightly more shelving ability.
Fair.
Uh, in reality, so a further addendum to the tale. Apparently, Hudson's crew mutinied on a subsequent voyage to locate the Northwest Passage. In 1610, after being trapped in the ice for the winter, the crew set Hudson and 8 other sailors adrift in Hudson Bay, and they were never seen again.
How
Legends,
big's the bay?
it's huge.
Yeah, but to lose men in it, it ain't no Great Lake.
Well, they were set. They were dropped off in the winter, in the middle of. It's so much bigger
Fair
than the.
enough. Fair
It's.
enough. Yes, I know that winter.
But legend says that every 20 years, a fire appears in the amphitheater and the sound of music echoes through the mountains. The gnomes would hold a party every 2 decades, and the ghosts of Hudson and his men would join the festivities at midnight. Until dawn, the ghosts and gnomes would play ninepins, the sound of the ball rolling like thunder, and bolts of lightning streaking across the sky when pins fell. For those of
Metal.
you for those of you keeping track, the next gathering is scheduled for September 3rd, 2029, somewhere near the former site of the Grand Hotel on Monka Hill. So if you don't have vacation plans for early September 2029,
I mean,
there you go.
do we buy tickets? This seems to be the Woodstock of our people.
So then we have just a few more Catskill related things. The Catskill Mountains are overlapped by 3 indigenous language groups. You've got Delaware, Algonquin, and Iroquois. Uh, and pretty much all of them have some sort of mythological tiny humans.
Of course.
The
The thing's
Algon
so nice, everyone had them.
Yeah. Among Algonquin people, you find Pagdaginini. I definitely fucked that up, but maybe not. I don't know. The little people of the forest, their name means wild man, and they're known to be mischievous, but generally good-natured. In Delaware-speaking cultures, you have Wemetigonis, a little a little people about as tall as a man's waist, like the Pagdagini. The God damn it, the Wemetigonis are mischievous but generally benign forest spirits, although they can become dangerous if disrespected, like I just did to their name.
Don't disrespect. You got to come correct. That's how some of their rap goes, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very late 80s. They have the ability to turn invisible and have immense strength. They may help people who are kind or who tolerate the mischievous pranks with good humor. Lastly, you have the Joga from the myths of the Iroquois Confederation. The Joga are a small humanoid nature spirit, sometimes called dwarves by Europeans, of course. Their size varies, with some cultures saying they're only knee high, while others stating the Joga stand 4 feet tall. However, the Joga are often invisible, revealing themselves mostly to children, elders, and medicine people. There are several different types of Joga, notably the Gahongas, who are renowned for their great strength, capable of moving boulders many times their size. According to legends, Gahongas live on a rocky river banks and in caves.
Nice. Me too.
There's also the Gandaya, possibly, or drum dancers, who are always invisible, and only the sound of their drums indicate their presence. The Gandaya are known to help the Iroquois people with their crops. Lastly, the Odows are the gnomes who live under the earth and are said to keep serpents and other subterranean monsters in check. So, it's nice to know that you've got a swarm of little people under the earth stopping giant snakes, I guess.
Listen, I don't have that now. So it seems like they have a new follower.
Uh, One last option could be that the gnomes were just as much strangers to the mountains as Hudson and his men. Their small stature would greatly benefit any race dwelling underground, making any number of legendary subterranean civilizations as possible origin of the gnomes. Uh, then it talks a little bit about Mike Mendiola's Hellboy for some
Nice.
reason.
Good jumping off point.
The account mentions that the crew played nine pins with the gnomes, which seems odd even in an already strange account. It appears the game was in progress when Hudson and his crew arrived on the scene, leading one to wonder where the gnomes got all the elements to play the nine pins, let alone hear about this European game. Well, fucking maybe it wasn't nine pin, and Hudson and his guys were just like, oh shit, it's nine pin. Maybe that's because the gnomes were all in the minds of the European explorers. The fires spotted by the half moon may have been some sort of natural phenomenon akin to swamp gas. A subterranean gas, one with hallucinogenic effects, inflammable or phosphorescent properties, may have leaked from deep underground and affected the men when they investigated. The missing crewman could have just wandered off, perhaps falling to his death off a cliff or down the crevasse that the gas emerged from, and his body was never found.
How do you feel about the whole swamp gas thing and like that? Like it
Well,
can't be happening like this. I got Southern family. I've never been warned about the swamp gas or else I'll die. You know, like
right.
wandering off and disappearing,
I mean,
abductions and other things being just swamp gas.
yeah. I mean, I think that there is something that could be categorized as swamp gas that exists. But yeah, it can't be responsible for. I mean, if it's responsible for like 10% of weird sightings, maybe.
Maybe. I've just
Uh,
never been a big believer, like skeptic side. Like I would rather think it's something else.
well, it's also like they always just say swamp gas. Like you can't tell me what it actually is. Like if you can't give me a chemical definition, then how can it be the same thing every time? You have no
Yes,
idea.
it's too varied in its effects. This is
Yeah.
a magical drug that we should harness and sell to the cartels.
Uh okay, so this thing ends with it's literally saying I can't end a post involving Henry Hudson without briefly touching upon the circumstances of his disappearance. As noted above, Hudson, along with his son and seven crewmen, were set adrift in a small ship in 1611. The nine men briefly pursued Hudson's former ship, the Discovery, before the vessel raised sails and left the shallop behind. That was the last known sighting of Hudson. Searches conducted in 1612 and later, apparently from 1668 to 1670, which is long enough time that, like, if they weren't already dead, they definitely
They
weren't by
definitely
then.
are now.
Yeah. It's been 56 years.
It's
Uh,
time to let go.
yeah, failed to find any sign of Hudson or his men. Author Dorothy Harley Eber collected testimonies in the 20th century from Inuit residents of the area that revealed the existence of old stories dating back centuries that yet might shed light on Hudson's fate. The stories spoke of the arrival of an old white man with a long beard and a young boy who were taken in by the Inuit people, despite their never having seen a European before.
King
Uh,
Arthur and Merlin?
yep. The old man soon died, and the boy was tethered to one of the homes so he wouldn't run away.
He kept running away. What were you expecting us to do?
We're gonna tie him to a goddamn
We're
house.
gonna tie him to the goddamn house.
The ultimate fate of the boy and the man's corpse were unknown. Anyway, that's the the weird thing that happened with Henry Hudson and apparently some gnomes in the Catskills.
Goodness gracious. What a wild bit of American horror. We gotta go someday.
And fun.
And fun. How do you piss them off? That's what we gotta ask ourselves. We gotta have some fun. Let's be kidnapped by puck wedgies.